we are on session 4 of the Link for Growth Soundbite series, and today I'm privileged to have well, 3 guests, but two are with us at the moment. So we've got Dipa. Hello, Dipa.
Hello, Chris. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And we've got Alistair Moffat there. Hello, Alistair. How you doing? All right?
Hello, Chris.
Good, good. Okay, so what we're going to have Daryl join us in a little bit. He's been tied up on something, so he's promised he will join us. I hope we haven't finished by the time he does join us. But Dipa used to own an accounting business. She used to run an accounting practice, and Alistair is currently running a cloud bookkeeping service. And Daryl is MD of his own business, and his involvement today will be just his experience of using different systems, which should be quite interesting. These sound bites are basically an opportunity for anybody in Link for Growth who has either some experience, a good story to tell, or has something that they've done that they're quite proud of in their life and they want to share it with the wider community of Link for Growth. We have the Soundbite platform, which is basically a vehicle for people to give their message out to a wider audience. So that's the purpose of what this is. And today what we're going to be talking about, and it's a topic that I often get asked when I'm at events, is about bookkeeping. And we meet a lot of people when we go out networking, and a lot of time small business owners, some of them are solopreneurs, they're working by themselves, or they might be in a small business, and quite often they struggle with what they should be doing with regards to complying with legalities of keeping books and stuff like that. And I know, Dipa, coming to you first, that you often get asked this because people, they work out. I know you don't often go around telling people what you do, but they quite often, when they actually find out, and they say, "Okay, Dipa, you're an accountant." I mean, what sort of questions do you get fired at you, and what do you think people struggle with?
I think the first problem people have is they do not know how to actually simplify and a system which would be easy and simple to use. And implementing it means that, they don't even have an idea of what kind of software to use, but not only that, or how to actually go about starting to look at what's available and what's suitable for their business. Because not all systems are suitable for all businesses. There are service-based businesses and there are others which sell products, and both of them would need different systems. So I think the biggest problem is actually working out what is right for their business.
And what sort of criteria? I've been involved with systems, so I'm probably not the best person to sort of ask this question, but it must be quite daunting when someone's looking at an accounting system or looking at because they've got A, what do I need to do? B, how much is that likely to cost me? And then the last one really is, well, I'm not an accountant, so whatever I pick, it's got to be either incredibly easy to use, i.e. it's a language that they understand,
yes,
or they're going to have to start hiring someone to do it for them, aren't they? So it's quite a tricky one, isn't it?
It is very tricky, because it's not only just the cost as well of the system, is how to go about setting it up right, because if you don't get it right from the beginning, it's going to cost you a lot more. And also, there's so many packages out there. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this package is best for the SME," and they love saying that, good for the small business. But then not all software is good for small business, and it's a very competitive market out there as well, because everybody's coming out with their simple, easy solution. I could give an example. Things like Sage and QuickBooks are always competing with each other. They've been doing that for the past 15 years. So that is one of the daunting experiences a business owner can go through, that, let alone the stresses of running a business. I think choosing the right bookkeeping solution could be very, very daunting and stressful.
But how do they, I mean, let's just take a couple of very simple examples. You've got somebody who's running, I don't know, they make stuff, craft type stuff, quite low value, and they're selling to, you know, we meet a lot of people. They might be selling to some mums or local people, and you know, they buy a bit of stuff, they sell a bit of stuff. You know, it's not big volume. You know, I mean, that kind of thing that they might need when they're actually making something, is that going to be the same system that someone might need who's like, I don't know, who's offering some kind of massage service or something? I mean, are they different?
Well, looking at the size of the business and the kind of transactions they would have, they're not very different. And both of them are, you know, I would say would use a very simple cash book-like system, where there's cash in, cash out, few expenses. Now, you know, when you're talking about craft kind of products, you wouldn't be having stock as such. But if they were looking to track how much stock they're holding, which is raw stock, and then they're looking at finished stock, then they would need something slightly more complicated where they can actually look at the value of the stock they're holding, because that's one of the things that they would want to know. Yeah. But if you just mentioned that, you know, if you're just selling to a few mums, then, you know, they're not really bothered about the stock element of it. It's just literally expenses in, expenses out, income in, and just trying to balance that out. So it's a very simple cash book-like software that would work.
Right. Okay. I mean, I've got used to it now, and you guys, you know, you're professionals because you do this day in, day out. But what really kind of got my goat when I first started looking at systems is like, I've got my bank account, right, and I go and I've got my credit book, right, and I go down the bank and I'm paying in a credit, right, so it's money going into my account. But you guys, you call that a debit. It's like what's that all about? I mean, it's like why you make it so difficult for people to understand. I mean,
Chris, you need to go on a double entry bookkeeping course.
No, but I don't, do I? I don't, because I don't want to be an accountant. What I'm saying is that for the normal person in the street, it's like, why the hell are you reversing this stuff?
Can I just say, Chris, it's not us that's got it wrong, it's the banks that are doing it their way.
Exactly.
As usual, it's the tail wagging the dog.
Right. Okay. Well, look, now you've come into the Alistair. I mean, you obviously you run a bookkeeping business, you know, I understand, because we've had a conversation, that it's a cloud-based system. Now, you know, here we go again, right? We've got another thing for a small business. It's like, well, what on earth are you talking about? A cloud-based system? What's that mean? Right. So, can you just tell us in really simple terms? I mean, what's a cloud system and what isn't a cloud system?
Okay, very simply, if I go to Sage, who supply accounting software, they will give me a disk. I will pop that into my laptop or my computer, and off I go.
Right.
But I'm the only person that can see it on my laptop. It's completely insular. No one else can see it. I can,
right? Because it's my account, so I don't want everybody seeing it.
Exactly, yeah. I can then download that onto an email as a file, an email to my accountant, and as long as my accountant's got a copy of Sage, they can upload it onto their system and work on it. So that's pretty basic.
Right, but if they're working on it and I'm working on it at the same time, what?
No, you don't. You obviously, there's certain rules. If you're going to do that, then obviously you make sure that you finish at a certain point. In Sage, every transaction has an audit trail number.
Right.
You stop at an audit trail number, you wait for the accountant to come back when they've done their bit, and then you reload it back up again if you want to do it that way.
Okay. Right.
That's for the businessman who wants to do his own accounts, and that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. It's a good system. You can buy a reasonably cheap system, one-off payment, and get your software. However, times are moving, and they're progressing, and we're finding that people would like to access their data, not just accounting software, but data in general on the cloud. And it basically means is that It's an alternative way of accessing your information in the cloud instead of on your box. So you're not reliant on being on your PC. You can be on anybody's PC and still access your information.
Okay, so that's like Gmail and all that. It doesn't matter where you are. You could just log in and away you go.
Exactly, yeah. Now, cloud computing, cloud accounting software like we use, and we are cloud bookkeeping. We're an outsourcing company, so we provide bookkeeping services for busy business owners who don't want to do their own accounts. Now, we take it away from them, take all the paperwork away from them, put them onto our cloud. We've just decided to put our accounts on our cloud instead of just buying a disk and doing it. The reason we do that is because it's hosted for us by a third party who provide all our updated versions. They can keep it maintained. They give us other services with it, like such as Office, the Office suite, Excel and Word.
Right.
And it gives us a whole package that's easy to access for us to use. So I can be at the accountants or I can be at the clients. It doesn't matter where I am. I can log in and I can access my cloud account anywhere I want. Okay. It just makes it easier and flexible for me.
Right, okay. I mean, is that really a service that's aimed at slightly bigger? I was talking with Dipa earlier, and we were talking about very small businesses. So, is the Cloud Sage product really aimed at companies that are a bit more established?
If you're going to use Sage 50, which is the version that we use, it's a little bit more comprehensive, shall we say, than the Cashbook version that Dipa just mentioned.
Right.
And it's for businesses that predominantly will have a lot more transactions going through the business, a lot more purchases, a lot more sales. They're probably businesses that are going to be turning over 50, 60, 70k upwards to up to 300, 400,000 pounds, up to half £500,000 a year.
Right. Okay.
And those sorts of size of businesses can't get by using a very simple Cashbook software. They need more comprehensive software that will track their sales, log their purchases, will work out their VAT, work out their payroll for them. So it's a much more comprehensive system that's required. So it all depends on the stage of your business. So going back to your point, how do I know which system to use? You need to look at your business at the moment, establish what level you're at, and also try and work out what you're likely to be doing in 6 months' time if you're going to grow the business, so that you're keeping up with the right software.
Okay, I mean, there's that point you just made, an interesting one, because I know that changing systems it's not the software cost, it's the pain of going through the transition, and it's the relearning of the process of learning another system, another way of doing it. Isn't there like almost I think my business is going to be doing all right and I'm going to stick at this and it's something I want to do. Isn't it better to put in something that's man enough for the job at the start?
Yes, yeah, no, absolutely, and I would advise that you do that. Absolutely. I mean, I have clients that I'm just about to put a new client actually onto Sage. He's only just come off I use a simple spreadsheet system for him, but he's starting to do a lot more business. He's producing a lot more invoices. There's a lot more activity going on in the business. And he's at the stage where I'm thinking, I'll get him onto Sage now, because I know that in 6 months' time or 9 months' time or even a year, he's going to be needing to track his business on Sage. So it's best to get him on now, and then he can grow with it. It doesn't matter if he stays the same level. It's no problem, because the system, Sage will handle it.
Okay, and I mean, what kind of things typically would somebody like you be doing for these people? I mean, I'm just let's say I'm a business owner and I'm finding like my accounts are getting a bit behind because the last thing I want to do is spend my evenings sodding around with invoices, to be honest. And I say to you, look, what can you as a bookkeeper then do for me with this system? What does it give me that enables me to be more effective in my business? What am I going to get from my presumably I'm paying on a monthly basis for this?
Yeah, right. First thing is that 9 times out of 10, most business owners are not interested about what goes in to actually get your set of accounts done. The work that the processing work of getting all the information in, 9 times out of 10, they just want you to get on and do that, and come back at the end of the month with the result of that month's activity that you've just entered. And the result of that is the reports. So the output of the work that you do is the reports, and the reports are the important bit. If you get that right, then you sit down with your client at the end of the month, and you'll then make the business owner aware of his financial situation and how his business is performing, and you'll be able to then enable him to make the right decisions going forward. There are too many businesses out there that don't keep on top of their accounts on a regular amount of time, a regular period of time, and they're making decisions based on what's in their bank account, forgetting that they owe more than what's in there, maybe, or they don't know what their bad debt situation's like. They don't know who owes them money. They don't know whether it's overdue or not. They don't know what money they owe, and you need to see a fuller picture before you can make proper decisions about your business. So it is really.
I guess then that what you're then talking about is as the transaction volume goes up and as there's more information that's required, it becomes less easy to manage that on a spreadsheet because you don't have access to this instant kind of reporting on outstanding liabilities and outstanding money you owe and stuff, and that's where systems become more important.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I mean that's interesting. I mean, one of the things that I spotted a little while back, and it's a bit of a bugbear of mine, I have to be honest, all right, because I hate entering data more than once. I don't just hate it, I loathe it with a vengeance. It's like, and my problem was that you've got an account system, right, with all the addresses and everything else, because that's got to be right, hasn't it? That's got to be right, because that's your accounting system. And then you've got a CRM system, and the CRM system's basically about building the connections and building your business and building the people that you might want to do business with and stuff like that. And that also needs all that information because you've got to send out stuff to those people. You need their email addresses, their telephone. I mean, you need all this, a lot of the same stuff, but you put a lot more information into those systems, which is like what's going on, what you're talking about, the discussions you're having, and everything else, which you don't need in the account system, right? But a lot of it's one set of data, and what I always found was that the one that was always kept up to date was the accounts one because that needed to be right, but actually the one that I used most during the day was the CRM system, but it almost like it fell into disuse because I couldn't be bothered to keep both systems up to date. And it was like that was just so annoying that in the end you just say, I can't be bothered with this. I have to pick one, and you obviously pick the accounts, but then you don't drive the business forward so much on the CRM because your CRM's not up to date anymore. So have these systems sorted this problem out yet, or is it still a problem? Dipa, do you know?
Right. Most accounting systems do not have that function, but now, as we are moving towards the cloud and we're, I would say, modernizing, they do have this method or way of actually connecting with a number of CRM systems.
Right.
The only thing is, when you make a decision about using an accounting software and you have got a particular CRM system, because you're more likely to choose the right CRM system from the start because you know the industry you're in and what kind of information you need from your CRM system. Just make sure that the two systems are compatible.
Okay. So
I have a client recently.
That's another consideration that
that's
people
definitely a consideration, yes.
I mean, and I'm guessing that, you know, you two, you know, when people come to you and you sort of get a picture of the size of the business, the business owner's ambitions for the business, you can then, and what they're trying to do, and you can sort of advise them on this type, what, you know, well, I think, you know, because you need CRM, you probably need to go towards this. It might actually not be the accounting software that drives that decision.
That's right, that's right. I've recently had a client who's decided to move from one particular accounting system to another just because the CRM he needed in his business was not compatible with the first system he was using. So after being in the business for a year or two, he's decided to move to something else, which is now compatible. And he can now invoice from his CRM system and import them directly into his accounting system. And then I'll look after that.
Okay. Just one sort of like final point, really. Daryl was going to be joining us. It looks like he won't be able to make it now, but he was going to be talking about cash flow, and you know, cash flow with a K as opposed to. Yeah. There are a number of different systems that people can use out there, and what I want to do is I will start a thread on the Link for Growth forum, the community forum, about accounting systems, because I think I think it's one of these topics that actually it would be really useful for a lot of people to actually read and take part in. But cash flow, I've heard, I've not used it myself, that it sort of almost talks the business owner's language and actually makes keeping the books so simple, you know, like a well-trained monkey could do it.
That's true. I have just recently looked at cash flow because a client of mine moved to cash flow, and I was really impressed with it, I must say, because it is something that a business owner whose passion is not accounting can actually use, and it's very user-friendly. It gives you very good reporting. It's much better than other systems that I've used recently for small businesses. And it's very flexible. It works with a number of CRM packages, and also you can import, which is very, very good. You can not only import the data, like the customer and the supplier files, but you can actually import transactional data from Sage and QuickBooks. Wow. Or just using a simple CSV file. So it's a very, very good package, very competitive price-wise as well, and it has got a lot of flexibility. So a number of industries can use that software.
Right, okay. And have you got any sort of final thoughts on, I mean, I know Sage, from my own personal experience, I mean, I've used Sage, so for me it wasn't that difficult for me to get to grips with it, but I know that for a lot of business people, they do find it's almost like it's the accountant's accounting system of choice, not necessarily the business owners. But is there anything else that you found, Alistair, that you think is worth pursuing or considering apart from Sage?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Sage really is sort of the original sort of. They cornered the market really in up until recently, and that's why most businesses out there, big and small, tend to use Sage, and they've just kept with it. Now there is a lot more competition around, and there are, as you say, cash flow. There's QuickBooks. One that I'm quite interested in looking at myself, and I've seen it in action a little bit and tried it out, is Xero. Xero's quite a favourite with accountants as well. There are a lot of accountancy practices which are using Xero and recommending that you use Xero. And again, you can have it's a relatively cheap option, £19 a month for unlimited access via the cloud, and so that offers a good option as well.
Brilliant. Okay. I mean, just just sort of winding up now, Dipa, for people who are kind of not yet ready for an accounting system, or kind of, and this is the other thing, a lot of them haven't even got their house in order, so you'd be ended up making the rubbish go around a lot quicker with an accounting with a system. You might, there's a lot of people need to get stuff put in the right places to start with. You've developed a few simple templates, haven't you, that the businesses kind of could use to get organised?
That's right. Yes, I have, because I had. I had questions of people saying, they are not ready to buy an accounting solution. And also, to be fair, I felt that they really not really needed at that, initial stages of the business. So I came up with a set of about 5 spreadsheets that they could use. And as long as they fill them on regularly, I would have recommended, once a month, make sure all the transactions have gone in. They can hand over those to the accountants or use those for their tax returns and the accounts productions.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, are those things going to be available through Link for Growth? Is that something?
Yes, they will be. They will be. And what I'll do is I'm going to put them all onto the drive. And, anybody who wants to look at them can just send me a request and send me the email address, which I can just share the drive with them.
Fantastic. You must have some of those people as well, Alistair, that need that from time to time.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, brilliant. Excellent. Okay, well, Dipa, just before we go, if someone wants to contact you, how can they get hold of you?
You can get hold of me in all social media platforms. Right. They can also call me on my mobile number, or they can email me. I assume that everybody will be able to look at my profile on Link for Growth, so they'll be able to pick up my contact details from there.
Right, okay. And if they typed in Dipa Kotak into Google, would you come up somewhere?
Yes, I should do, or my faces should come up everywhere. And Dipa Kotak is the name I use on all my social media platforms. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google+, and also on the forums. It's Dipa Kotak. Okay,
brilliant. And how about you, Alistair? Are you difficult to get hold of?
No. Cloud Bookkeeping has a website. We're a franchise anyway, so if you type in Cloud Bookkeeping, you'll come up on the first page of Google.
Okay.
I'm Cloud Bookkeeping / Stevenage. So Stevenage is my area. Stevenage in North Hertfordshire. There are 17 of us Cloud Bookkeepers. So yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, I just want to thank you both for participating today. I'm hoping that I think this has kind of given at least people an overview of kind of what might be involved in thinking about doing their bookkeeping, because I know that business owners do struggle with this, and it's one of those areas that you actually do have to get it sorted out. It's not something you can just leave and hope it goes away. It doesn't. It comes back and it bites you in the bum. So.
And then we have to sort it out, Chris.
Yeah. So what I'll do is this will be posted up on the forum. I'll get a new thread started about this, and hopefully you guys can chip in and help out as necessary. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Brilliant. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care now.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.